Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Pride of the Poconos podcast. I am your host, Zach Sterniolo, joined as always by sports editor Mike Coons and sports writer Shawn Suchi. Guys, how you doing?
Doing good, but I have to sit next to this guy today, 10-0. You know, Zach, here we go again. Same year. It's like a broken record.
I know, but for as much as he has ruined us these last 2 years,
right.
First time we can finally call him Mr. 10-0.
Can we just take the microphone? We'll just put his on silent and we won't let him say anything.
I'm totally good with that. Totally good with that.
That's cool, right?
All right. Who needs his
You
insight?
and me.
All right, let's do it. Shawn, welcome to the show. We're not kicking you off yet, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to.
Yes, it finally happened. I have nothing more to accomplish here. So,
just going to retire, walk off.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I only gained. Unfortunately, I only gained 1 and 2 games on you two. So you guys also had a good week. So I'm happy
Don't
for
try
you.
To patronize us like
I'm happy for both of you. So good job. Yeah.
In all seriousness, I am glad you finally got this 10-0 so you can finally get out of here.
Thank you.
I did have a good week right up until I learned that you went undefeated. No, I went 9-1. My only mistake was Penn State, which I still don't consider it a mistake. They only lost by 1 point rather. 39-38 lost to Ohio State. Mike, you and I both bid on that one, and Shawn was the one who doomed us all.
Penn State's offensive line let us down. People want to talk about conservative play calling, all that kind of stuff. You got to get a couple of first downs and win a football game there. So that's I put it on the offensive line.
Well, between that and JT Barrett just dominating the defense.
He was great. Yeah, he was very good.
Especially that fourth quarter. I mean, that was phenomenal.
But JT Barrett isn't on the field if Penn State's offensive line can protect their quarterback and get a couple of first downs
100%
late in the fourth quarter.
Right. Yeah. No, they needed to be clutch. They weren't. They couldn't do anything with Barkley because Barkley was well contained for the first time I've seen all season long. And, it doomed them. So...
Yeah, Penn State had a chance to win at the end. Ohio State was scared to kick off most of the game, and the Nittany Lions had it at the 40.
Yeah.
They couldn't get a first down. Pass rush was great in the second half for Ohio State. And also, Ohio State, excluding Barkley's 36-yard touchdown, he had 8 yards on 20 carries. So that's a great job from their defense.
Wow.
So.
That's incredible stuff. I mean, again, for the first time all season long, the first time he hasn't been explosive. The other loss, unfortunately for you, Mike, was biting on the Jets. It almost paid off, honestly. 25-20 loss to the Falcons.
What? I'm speechless sometimes about how I make these dumb picks. And my doctor's a Jets fan, right? So sometimes I go and I see, hey, how you doing, doc? Blah, blah, blah. And he's got me thinking, you know what? This team might be okay. And then what do? They break my heart. And I understand where Jets fans are coming from now because I get it. I'm a Redskins fan. Look at my team. They're terrible. They're awful. There was guys on that field Monday night. I don't even know who they were.
Yeah.
I think they were on the practice squad. No, worse yet, I think they were driving the bus before the season. They're going through so many linemen now. I'm concerned.
Yeah, no,
I'm really concerned for Kirk Cousins. He and his wife just had a child, and I'm not sure that is going to be Daddy's not going to be coming home in one piece, next week. I'm really concerned.
Who do they play next week anyway? We're not picking their game, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to erase them from my memory.
I understand. Yeah. I respect that, honestly. The Giants are on this list this week.
I think it's Seattle. I think they get Seattle.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck with that.
Nah, they're not going to win.
All right, we got some games to pick.
Hey, let's go pick some games.
The playoffs are here.
Playoffs?
These teams? Playoffs?
Hey, they're in.
How about Pocono Mountain West? With a 44-22 win over Pocono Mountain East last week, they finally make districts for the first time in program history.
Yeah, good accomplishment there.
They are the 7th seed in the playoffs here. They're going up against number 2 seed Stroudsburg in Stroudsburg this week. West 6-4. Stroudsburg coming off a 48-33 win over Pleasant Valley. Also, Stroudsburg sitting at 8-2. Mike, I'll start with you here. Who have you got?
Well, it's Stroudsburg. I'm going to take Stroudsburg, but I think it's going to be closer than the 34-12 score that they had in week 2. in that game, let's just look here real quick here. Grant had 93 yards rushing for Stroudsburg, but Stewart only had 8 rushes for 20 yards, which, by the way, Sherwin Stewart is legit. That kid can run. He can scramble. If you haven't seen him play, he's really fun to watch. West, I just wish they had one more playmaker at like a wideout position. It would tempt me a little bit because I think Stroudsburg's secondary is still, here we are, week 11. I just don't know who they are. They give up a lot of big plays where they shouldn't. They give up, over 400 yards passing, when they beat PV. By the way, Aiden McHugh is going to be pretty good for Pleasant Valley in the next 2 years.
No question.
But I think Stroudsburg's going to win this game, but I think it's closer, obviously, than the 34-12 game that they had in, September.
Right. Pleasant Valley's season is done. I don't think we talked about that yet. Finished the season 2-8, but hell of a way to finish the season for them. Aiden McHugh, to your point, 26 for 36, 438 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But Michael Brown caught 8 passes for 193 yards and 3 touchdowns. Brent Beck, 7 catches, 136 yards, touchdown. Samir Hoxa, 8 catches, 74 yards. The point is, they abused Stroudsburg's secondary, and that raises some questions for sure. But to your point, West's only consistent weapon on the outside has been Khalili Edwards. He made 5 catches last week against Pocono Mountain East, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns for him. But really, I think the thing that's carried West all season long has been its running game. We've talked about Jonathan St. Hilaire and Matt Mussenden all season long. They combined for over just about 200 yards and 3 touchdowns last week on 32 carries. I think they definitely pose a significant threat, and I know going into week 2, we all picked Pocono West to take down Stroudsburg. I'm definitely thinking West can pull it off, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do, but at this point, especially if they have to rely on their running game against what's been a pretty lethal Stroudsburg defensive front, the front 7 there, I am trusting Stroudsburg more than I'm trusting West in that regard. So I'm taking Stroudsburg here as well.
Yeah, it's very nice to see the Panthers in the postseason, but I got to go with Stroudsburg as well. A lot of Panthers are on a hot streak here, so they could be a tough out for the Mounties. But after, I know it was early on in the season, but Stroudsburg dominated that game pretty good. So I got to stick with Stroudsburg this time.
Let's move on to the District 11 Class 5A. That was 6A, the first game, but we got 5A game coming up here between East Stroudsburg South. They're on the road at Southern Lehigh. Southern Lehigh is 9-1. They've only lost once this season. That was to the Colonial League champion Palisades. 35-17 was that loss for Southern Lehigh. And South coming off of a 46-7 win over East Stroudsburg North. They finished the season 6-4. Shawn, I'll start with you here. Who have you got in this one?
I have Southern Lehigh. Shawn Solomon had a huge game for the Cavaliers last week, 5 touchdowns. But Southern Lehigh handled the Cavaliers pretty good last season. I think South is a little better this year, and it could be a closer game, but I'm taking Southern Lehigh.
Mike, we'll go to you here.
Yeah, I'm with Shawn. I think that East Stroudsburg is a lot better than they were last year. The running game has obviously been a highlight that we've talked about for a lot, but finishing second in the Colonial League, only losing to Palisades. There's some pretty good teams in the Colonial League, especially at the top this year. So boy, I'm almost tempted to take the Cavaliers, but I just got to think that going on the road and playing down there, I don't trust it. So I'm going to take Southern Lehigh here.
I'm in the same boat. I really want to take South here just because you look at the running game. I know Ryan Clark had the week off last week, and Shawn Solomon had the week off the week before that in the win against Allen. Solomon coming off 207 yards and 5 touchdowns against North last week. The combination of them has been so good all year long. I haven't seen Southern Lehigh. I don't really know what they bring, what weapons they have or don't have. But again, to your point, the Colonial League was pretty tough this year, and to finish second there, only 1 loss, and again, that being to the champion of the league. I'm going to stick with Southern Lehigh, but I'm not going to be surprised if South moves on to the championship game.
It's a tough out, too, for South if they get behind and have to throw the ball. How effective are they, passing,
Right.
if they get behind? So I think that's a factor as well.
Right. Let's move on to the second of two 5A games. We got East Stroudsburg North, who finished the regular season 0-10, up against Whitehall, who finished the regular season 7-3. This one is probably not going to be
It's all Whitehall.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty for North.
I don't know how much we'd have to talk, about what the struggles that North has gone through this year. I mean, this is certainly going to be another learning experience for them, if you will. Whitehall is just a step, obviously, or two ahead here. So the Zephyr's going to win this game
With a 49-10 win over Stroudsburg a couple weeks ago, I feel like that kind of puts it in perspective just how good Whitehall is, especially over EPC North teams. I think Whitehall's going to handle North pretty handily here. Shawn?
Yeah, very tough situation for the Timberwolves going 0-10 and then having to go to a very good team to play a playoff game. So that's a good opportunity for some of their younger players to get some play time in. But I got to go with Whitehall.
Let's move on to the Eastern Conference playoffs. We've got Pocono Mountain East on the road. They finished the regular season 4-6, missed districts just barely after Liberty beat Freedom last Saturday. And Pocono East on the road at Boyertown, who also finished the regular season 4-6. Shawn, I'll start with you here. What do we got here?
It's been a great season for the Cardinals. A multiple game winning streak this year, first time in a long time. And they brought the bucket home for the first time in a long time. And I think they're going to win a playoff game. So I'm taking the Cardinals.
All right. Mike?
You know what? He's read my mind. I don't, he's very smart. There's a reason why he goes 10-0, 9-1. He's reading my notes. Shawn has very good vision. He can see across tables and he can check out my notes. We're saying Boyertown 4-6. That's their record. They won 3 of the last 4. They have a real good win against Owen J. Roberts this year, who was 8-2. However, there's just something about this team. I think I just like with Pocono Mountain East and what they've been able to accomplish this year. I think their coaching staff is fantastic, and I think they go down and I think they get a win. I think they shock the world.
I'm so disappointed because I was really hoping both of you were going to go with Boyertown, and I was going to go out on a limb and take Pocono Mountain East here and be on my own.
Be on your little island?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, no, not happening. I'm taking Pocono East here as well, as well as Praise Andrews has run the ball all season long. I know he was limited last week against Pocono Mountain West. They held him to 82 yards on 20 carries.
That's not a bad day. That's 4 yards a carry.
Right. It definitely wasn't a bad day. We're just not breaking that 100-yard that we've seen him do all season long.
Right.
That's the only thing that raised a little bit of a question mark for me. But they were down 36-7 in that game, and East made a couple adjustments. They actually ended up putting Jacob Keene in under center, who ended up pitching the ball to Rinker, who would then find Tristan Hillman or whomever else downfield. And, they tried to do something. Yeah, exactly. Use anything they could to make some stuff happen. And they scored 2 on 2 consecutive drives there. So, I think
Rinker had a nice game last week.
Yeah, he
by
did.
The way. I look at the numbers: 14 for 18 for 151 and 2 touchdowns.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, absolutely not. No, he looked really good once they were finally able to get their feet underneath them.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with Pocono East here. I think they can. I think they can really pull this off.
And Hillman's healthy.
Right.
Hillman's healthy for a couple of weeks now here, and obviously you see the numbers. Last week he caught 6 passes for 103 and a touchdown. So, yeah, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not us?
Let's move on to. Oh, go ahead.
Field of love. Why not us?
Division II college football. East Stroudsburg University on the road at Lock Haven this week. ESU coming off a 31-26 loss to Westchester.
Showed some fight.
Yeah, they did.
Showed some fight. Westchester's a good team going down there. And, hey, give them credit. This has been can we call it a lousy season for ESU?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not been a great year for them. Let's take the Warriors this week against Lock Haven.
Okay. Why?
Can I say why not? Why not us? Come on.
There you go.
They're going to finish strong.
Sure.
You know what? Denny's not going to let this team just slide through, the last couple of weeks here. They're going to play. This is not a coaching staff that's just going to go through the motions, and the players aren't going to just go through the motions. And there's some underclassmen who are playing for position for next year. Let's not forget that. They're probably going to be playing some. They're still looking for receivers, I'm sure. And I think that that's a factor. That's a factor at this time of year in college football.
They scored their the last 20 points of that game. They were down 31-6, I think, in the third quarter even, and ended up coming back to make that game a fight at the end. I'm sticking with Lock Haven because, as I've said before, until I see them actually pull it off, I can't trust them. So I'm sticking with Lock Haven, but to your point, why not ESU? Shawn?
I agree with Mike here. ESU showed some things the last two games. They almost won both of those games. Unfortunately, they lost. I think Lock Haven is still Lock Haven. On Halloween, it's tough to see that last year ESU almost gave up 70 points to Lock Haven. They lost that game. But I think the Warriors will pull this one out on the road.
If I go 10-0 this week, this is the game I'm pointing to, and you guys go 9-1.
Also, Lock Haven's coming off a win, so it could be a tough one.
That's why I'm sticking with Lock Haven here. All right, let's go to Division I college football here. Penn State on the road at Michigan State. Penn State coming off of the close 39-38 loss to Ohio State. Michigan State coming off of an upset loss, really, to Northwestern, who beat them, I think, in triple overtime. 39-31, I think, was the final on that one. It was close. Shawn, I'll start with you here. Who have you got?
Unfortunate loss for Penn State last week. They dropped to number 7.
Unfortunate for everybody but you.
Yeah, it was good for me, but tough for them. And another tough game for them this week. But I think they rebound and beat Michigan State.
Mike?
You ready for this?
I'm so ready.
I'm concerned. I think you would think that this would be the week that Penn State would get refocused and all that kind of stuff. I've said it from the beginning of the year. Going on the road in the Big Ten, it's not easy. We saw it with Iowa, and I think this is another very, uneasy game, if you will. And it would not surprise me if Penn State lost this game. Michigan State is not not Ohio State, not that kind of caliber team, but we see what happens, when you go into this kind of atmosphere, and you're late in the game and Penn State can't get a first down. And I'm concerned with Penn State's offensive line, and I think they're going to get upset again. I'm taking Michigan State.
Okay. I'm sticking with Penn State here over Michigan State. The things I look to are Michigan State's loss to Notre Dame, 38-18, I think, fairly early this season, and last week's loss to Northwestern. I know it was triple overtime. At that point, anyone can win. I don't care what the teams are. But I think Penn State has shown all season long that it is capable of competing in those big games, and I know they only lost by 1 point last week to Ohio State. I think we were talking about it earlier. Their offensive line really let them down there late in that game and needed to perform when the stakes were on the line, and they didn't. This week, I'm not expecting it to get down where they're going to need to be that crisp, or where it's going to come down to all the pressure on them. So I'm going to stick with Penn State, but to your point, I'm not going to be surprised if Michigan State does it.
I think when you look at that Ohio State game, though, if you consider a few things that went Penn State's way, they get the opening kick, run back for a touchdown with Barkley. It was a fantastic run, but no one touched him. All right, so you go up 7-0 there. Then they get the 50-50 call in the end zone with the receiver, which was okay. They went to replay, but that's a very fortunate call that they got. But really, when it came down to it, I can't get it out of my head. You just have to get a couple of first downs when they get the ball at the last drive of the game, and Ohio State doesn't want to kick it deep, and they kick it to the 45.
Right.
Penn State only needed a field goal to win the game, and they couldn't move the ball an inch.
No.
That's again, I know Michigan State is an Ohio State, but you got to think that this is a concern.
And they're on the road again too. To your point,
they're on the road again.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks in a row that they're facing a conference rival. Like
and
I
guarantee you, Michigan State's not going to say, "Oh, this is Penn State. We're just going to roll it." Come on, this is their Super Bowl.
Sure.
This is their Big Ten championship game.
Right. No, absolutely. We got one more college game this week. We got Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Mike, I'll start with you here.
Ooh, two really good teams here.
Very good.
Ranked close. I'm going with Oklahoma. I'm going to stay with Oklahoma. I like the quarterback. He seems to be a gamer. I don't know a whole lot about Oklahoma. I've seen a little bit of Oklahoma State. I really like the quarterback for Oklahoma. There's just something about that guy that you go, I want him in my foxhole, when the going gets tough kind of thing.
Sure.
So I'm going to take the Sooners.
Shawn?
I think this will be a statement game for Oklahoma. They're not very happy that Ohio State leapfrogged them in the rankings after they beat the Buckeyes this year. So I'm taking Oklahoma.
I'm going Oklahoma State. I think they've been fairly consistent all season long. They've gotten some pretty dominant wins, probably over teams that they should be beating. But I think at home, too, especially that atmosphere against, it's fair to call them a rival, isn't it? So I'm sticking with Oklahoma State here at home. NFL, we've got the Broncos on the road at the Eagles. The Eagles are coming off of a 33-10 over the 49ers last week. Shawn, I'll start with you. Who have you got?
I'm going with the Eagles. Very tough to go against them right now. They're looking really good. They destroyed the 49ers' poor quarterback last week. I could see more of the same for that. We know what the Giants did to the Broncos 2 weeks ago. And,
you especially.
And last night, they didn't look all too great. So I think a certain someone from the New York Mets organization might get a call to come back and lead the Broncos to the playoffs here. But I got to go with the Eagles.
Mike, who have you got?
What kind of offense for the Broncos? I'm concerned with Simeon. He's made some really bad throws on Monday night. Ooh, man. And the Eagles just get a Jai now, which adds a nice little wrinkle to their offense. It'll be interesting. I'll be interested to kind of see how they use him, in that offense. So I'm picking the Eagles. I don't think there's any reason why you can pick against that team right now.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles. Best team in the league right now, especially picking up J.J. from the Dolphins. And they stole him. What was it, a 4th-round pick?
A 4th-round pick?
That's it. Mm-hmm. I that blows my mind. But, they've been without Darren Sproles since, week 1 or week 2?
Early.
Yeah,
real early.
So that's going to add another dimension to their already pretty potent offense. I've harped on their defense all season long. And, how do you go against them, against the team that lost to the Giants?
Yeah, and the Eagles' defense is good, too. The Eagles' defensive front, once they get healthy, they're real good. They get after the quarterback.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to our next game. We've got the Rams on the road at the Giants. Mike, I'll stick with you here.
Oh. It's a bad Giants season. Oh, man.
Pitiful.
The Rams, were the Rams? 5-2?
The Rams are 5-2.
5-2, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's the Rams and the Giants are 1-6, and you go, oh well, the Giants are going to start. I don't trust the Giants' offensive line either.
For what? Why would you?
Oh gosh. Oh, poor Eli. Look out, Eli.
It's a miracle he's still walking right now.
I don't know. He's as mobile as my grandmama. He's just he's got like concrete slippers on.
Yeah. Well. And apparently, so I don't know. Eric Flowers again. Like
pick a lineman, pick a week, pick a lineman.
Yeah,
you never
honestly.
know who's going to be.
No, and they don't have any weapons left.
None.
How do you trust them? You got to go with the Rams here.
Yeah, it's the Rams.
I am too. The Rams' offense has been pretty stellar all season long. 46-9 win over the Colts, a 41-39 win over the Niners, 35-30 over the Cowboys. 27 against the Jaguars. That was in Dallas, and you see scores like that and production like that. You're not seeing that on the Giants. I don't know if they've scored over 23 points this season, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going Rams.
Yeah,
two good defenses coming off buys, so healthy units. I think it could be low scoring, but you gotta go with the Rams.
I'll be very surprised if it's low scoring. I'll be honest with you. All right, last game of the week. We've got the Chiefs on the road at the Cowboys. Shawn, I'll stick with you here. What have we got?
Got to go with the Chiefs. Elliott likely out. Could be back. Who knows? But
yeah, at this point, it's a coin flip.
Yeah. The Chiefs offense looking pretty good. Travis Kelce and those guys. So I got to go with Kansas City.
Absolutely, Mike.
Is the appeals judge a Cowboys fan or?
Well, he was a New York State judge.
But that doesn't mean anything. There's there's Cowboys fans all over the place, right?
Yeah.
You never know. I'm tired of that story. I think the fans in general are tired of Ezekiel of this domestic violence, situation with him. I mean, did he do it? Did he not? And if he did, why isn't he serving a suspension?
Right.
I don't get this. It's the NFL really need to talk about domestic violence and everything that they need to do about this and the tolerance thereof. No one's standing up. This is a bad black eye for the NFL. I know that we're kind of getting off subject here, but
Sure.
This is a bad deal for the NFL. They really need to get this straightened out.
It is, and the problem is, especially with this case in particular, that he wasn't charged with any criminal acts by authorities. Obviously, it was looked into, though, and then the NFL did its own investigation and suspends him 6 weeks even before the season starts. But then they keep fighting it and fighting and fighting, and they keep managing to find a way to push it off.
I never see anything like this happen in other sports, though.
No.
I've not seen this in the NBA. And you talk about the issues that are going on, a separate issue with kneeling during the national anthem. Don't see any of that with the NBA.
Right.
Nothing. That commissioner's done a great job, right? Don't see Commissioner Silver, fantastic. That guy's a genius. Whatever he's been able to communicate to his owners, someone from the NFL should go talk to him because he's got to figure it out. But the NFL is a mess, and I think this is bad. What's going on? This back and forth, the whole suspension knot. But I know you're asking me about the Rams, so I'm gonna
Chiefs.
Oh, Chiefs. Yeah, I got my game screwed up here. Take the Chiefs.
All right. I'm taking the Chiefs, too, especially assuming Elliott is gone. Really one way or the other, I think, in this game. The Kansas City offense has been pretty stellar all season long, 6-2 right now.
Tight end might have 150 yards receiving.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, 87. Someone
Travis Kelce.
Yeah. Someone cover that guy.
Yeah.
He's like a miniaturized Gronk, a little bit faster right now than Gronk because Gronk's getting older, and I think he has more plastic on his elbows and knees and everything than
more metal in his body too at this point.
Yeah. And he's a great player, but
all right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sticking Chiefs.
Yeah.
All right, just to recap real quick, we are all taking Stroudsburg. We are all taking Southern Lehigh. Stroudsburg over West, Southern Lehigh over South, Whitehall over North, East over Boyertown. I have Lock Haven over ESU. Mike and Shawn both have ESU winning that one.
Go Warriors.
I've got Penn State. Mike's got Michigan State.
Yep.
Shawn's got Penn State. Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. I'm taking Oklahoma State. The guys are taking Oklahoma. I am taking the Eagles. I think we're all taking the Eagles over the Broncos. Rams over the Giants, and Chiefs over the Cowboys. That's all we've got for today's episode. Be sure to tune in on Thursday as I'm joined by Pocono Mountain West football coach Jim McCarroll, quarterback Dylan Delavalli, and running back Jonathan St. Hilaire as we discuss their historic season and get ready for their first district playoff game against North Division rival Stroudsburg on Friday night. To find all of our links, you can find us on Twitter at Pocono Podcast. This podcast can be found on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play. Be sure to like, subscribe, or comment wherever and however you're listening. We want to hear from you, our listeners, and see what you have to say. And if you subscribe, you'll never miss any of our newest episodes. This podcast has been brought to you by PoconoRecord.com/contests. Last year, we gave away over $20,000 in prizes, so be sure to visit often to see what we're giving away next. Again, that is PoconoRecord.com/contests. That's all we've got for today. Thanks for listening, and until next time, take care.